Thanks for staying with us on Africa Independent Television, AIT. Welcome to the midweek edition of Matters Arising on this 19th day of September 2012. I am Imonia Marere. Now, good rainfall in any farming season is seen as a sign of good omen, as it usually brings about bountiful agricultural harvest to the people. But when heavy rainfall brings devastating floods, the expected gains for rainfall turn to nightmares, resulting in untold pains, sorrow, agony, and pains to the people. The current flooding in parts of Nigeria, especially in the north, in which hundreds of lives have been lost, several thousands rendered homeless, and farmlands submerged, has become a source of concern to governments and residents of these areas. The challenges of the Nigerian river system and how to avoid the human and material losses resulting from flooding in the country is a matter arising this Wednesday. But as usual, let's quickly tell you some of the new developments in Nigeria. By now you know that both chambers of Nigeria's National Assembly came alive on Tuesday with the resumption of legislative activities by the Senate and the House of Representatives after over 2 months of vacation. The new legislative session is expected to be challenging and engaging, as the lawmakers already have a litany of national issues awaiting their action. For example, both the Senate and the House of Representatives will be saddled with the task of fine-tuning the much-delayed Petroleum Industry Bill, further amendments to the 1999 Constitution, as well as the 2013 Appropriation Bill. Now also, all eyes and attention are focused on how far the National Assembly members can go to putting the perceived excesses of the executive arm of government in check through diligent and purposeful oversight functions, particularly in the year to be concluded oil subsidy probe, pension scam probe, amongst others. As predicted, the Senate and the House of Representatives began the new legislative session smoking. The federal legislators at their separate plenary sessions on Tuesday took on the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, over the planned introduction of 5,000 naira note and currency restructuring. Both the Senate and the House of Representative members passed resolutions urging President Goodluck Jonathan to stop the proposed CBN currency restructuring project. The lawmakers, short of calling the Apex Bank governor names, described the planned introduction of 5,000 naira note as an anti-people policy. Let's go to the National Assembly complex here in Abuja and serve you very short excerpts of the debate on the Senate, in the Senate and the House of Representatives.
I overheard the Central Bank governor saying that the introduction of the 5,000 naira note is actually meant for a class of people. On this note, Mr. President, I want to say, it is ungodly, un-African, unconstitutional, it is immoral for anybody to attempt to introduce a particular denomination for a class of people.
Address the chair.
Mr. President, I only want to say, Mr. President, that it's not a reasonable economic sense for a country that is still languishing in poverty, a country where many of the people are still below the poverty line. Exchange rate as at the time Sanusi came was about 130 naira to $1. So if he's claiming to be a wizard in economic management, if he thinks he's so intelligent to say some people have no knowledge of economics, we put to him that he's one of the people who have been misleading this administration.
On one hand, Sanusi is talking of cashless society. On the other hand, he is talking of printing larger denomination. Mr. President, he is appropriating and repropriating You can't be appropriating on one hand and reprobating on the other hand. Even the most basic knowledge everybody has knows that these are two opposite ends of the stick. Therefore, we expect that Mr. President should even not tolerate what the proposals by Sanusi on this matter.
I, on behalf of my senatorial district, definitely is not in support of the introduction for the following reasons. So much has already been said about that it will bring about inflation when we begin to reduce the existing denominations, turning some of them into coins. We begin to ask ourselves, distinguished colleagues, how many times, where have you seen these currencies or these coins? Do not want to have 4 pieces of 5,000, that will be 20,000 naira. 20 pieces of 5,000, that will be 100,000 naira. And I think that truly this will usher in more harm than good. I think that what we should be campaigning for, what the system should talk about, what the monetary system should talk about, is introduction of less cash system.
Those were some of the few voices from the Nigerian Senate, the floor of the Senate, and from the Green Chambers, that is talking about the House of Representatives. The members here equally asked the President to sack the embattled Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, Aruma Ote, as recommended by the report of the House Committee that investigated the Nigerian stock markets. Well, we'll leave it at that for now, and we move on to tell you that the race for 2015 political contestation in Nigeria appears to be on already, with elections still more than 2 years away. This is despite public pretenses by politicians, including comments that the 2015 date is still far off and that those in positions of governance should be allowed to concentrate on the discharge of their duties and responsibilities. But at every given opportunity and forum, issues relating to the 2015 elections continue to dominate political discourse. So, a media forum to mark the 77th birthday of the national chairman of the ruling People's Democratic Party, PDP, Alhaji Bamanga Tukur, was not an exception. The elder statesman told his guests that his leadership of the PDP was not at the moment concerned with issues of who will or will not fly the party's flag in the 2015 polls. Instead, it is working hard to ensure that the umbrella is not torn to shreds. Tukur warns those currently occupying elective positions and would wish to recontest that performance and delivery on electoral promises will be the yardstick for a return ticket. Let's hear the PDP National Chairman, Alhaji Bamanga Tukur.
We'll talk about 2015. I've come to ensure we deliver what we promise. We are not a party always close on election, from one election to the other. Election is only a form of, like writing an exam, so that you find out who has passed, so that we can give you another chance. We are working, and I am not interested about 2014, 2015, or 2020. I'm interested to say who has done better, which minister has really took our own manifesto in agriculture and did well. Which our minister in the power who said our women are crying and they need power like energy. Who among them doing better health? This is my concern. Is the president coordinated all this to ensure our demand manifesto is done? Don't this speculation. I saw it. I said, well, Have you ever crossed your bridge before you reach it?
We must reach it there.
Try to reach it before you cross it. I even saw a newspaper today. Oh, Babanga people say there is no automatic ticket for Jonathan or this is. Babanga said, as I told you here, you deliver. We are not thinking about any 2015. We are talking about energy, education, health, infrastructure. That's what we expect Jonathan and now Sambo leading our ministers and the country to do. Not people saying that, I said there is no ticket for. How can you automatic ticket? Automatic ticket for what? We are not talking about automatic ticket. We are talking about performance. Exactly. Performance. Performance. Give us energy. Give us education. It's not Bamanga. It's not PDP. No. It's the owners of this party who will give people tickets.
You heard the national chairman of the PDP himself. He is, and the leadership of the PDP is talking about performance. That will be the yardstick for anyone wanting to get re-elected or indeed getting the party's ticket for 2015. Well, we rest our case there for now. And let's move on now to our talking point for this evening. It is rain, rain, and rain everywhere in Nigeria, including the northern parts of the country that is usually known for poor rainfall. Now, the 2012 rainy season is said to be witnessing the heaviest rainfalls going by weather reports in the country in recent times. Experts say over 32.2 inches of rainfall has been recorded in northern Nigeria alone this year, resulting in heavy flooding. The torrential downpours, which have caused devastating flooding across the country, have claimed hundreds of lives and rendered thousands homeless, while farmlands have either been submerged or washed away completely. Dams, both in Nigeria and neighboring Cameroon Republic, have overflown their banks and emptying into the River Niger and River Benue. The consequence of this being that communities and farmlands along the banks of rivers Niger and Benue have been sacked by the floods. States worst hit by the floods include Adamawa, Jigawa, Bauchi, Kaduna, Nasarawa, Benue, Kogi, Enugu, and Anambra. Now, we hear the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, is overwhelmed by the level of damages and is finding it difficult with providing aid to displaced persons. An official told us that NEMA's resources have been overstretched beyond the agency's imagination, since the authorities did not anticipate such a magnitude of natural disaster in the country. And this is despite months of warnings by the appropriate authorities. Now, the seeming helplessness of NEMA is even at a time when weather experts are warning that there may be more devastating floods and, of course, more damages in Nigeria. This prediction is worrisome and calls for emergency response by those in a position to address the situation. The Nigerian nation must not continue to be taken unawares by predictable disasters such as flooding, which weather experts forewarned us about, and the experiences of the recent floodings should be an eye-opener to the relevant authorities as a step towards averting future situations, especially now that we have been told that the country should expect more and more floods. The need for a comprehensive study of the system and the interconnectivity of Nigerian river systems with the current devastating floods, the need to develop a strategy for containing the environmental challenges of the river system in Nigeria shall engage our attention on matters arising. How can the Nigerian river system be made sustainable? I'm joined in the studio by Prince Shedrack Akolokwu. Prince Akolokwu is a lawyer by training. He is a political economist, a mass communicator, and a sustainable development expert. Thank you so much for finding time to join us.
Thank you very much.
Let me begin by asking you, what's your take on the flooding that is ongoing across Nigeria this year? We've never had it so bad.
I think we need to go back in time to understand how we came to be where we are. As far back as 1973, the development of the Lagdo Dam in the Cameroons began, and Nigeria was supposed to be an active participant. Nigeria failed on its own part to play that partnership role with the Cameroons. Today we are receiving the punishment, and we haven't seen anything yet. It's not enough to listen to NEMA's warning about what is going to happen in a few states. It's going to be far more devastating, because we need to understand comprehensively the nature of the river system in Nigeria. Virtually every river on the west and on the east are connected one way or the other. Let's take the east, for instance. Beginning from the Cameroons, where the Benue rises. The Benue rises at a point where the Faro River in the Cameroon meets the Benue, and it's at that point that the Lagdo Dam is built. And so, if you know that the rainiest point in the world recorded by meteorologists is the Busha in Cameroons, so it means a lot of the rains that fall in the Cameroons and other parts of Central Africa end up on the Benue. And then as the Benue enters Nigeria, the Benue receives first the Gongola at Numan, receives the Taraba, receives the Katsina Ala, and then other smaller rivers, Mayo, Ine, Ngurore, in Adamawa, and all these rivers, swelling up the water, the basin of the Benue. And then it comes down to Lokoja, where it means the mighty river Niger. The Niger rises from the Futajelan Highlands in Guinea.
In Guinea, yes.
And in the course of going to the Atlantic, recall that the Niger is one of the largest rivers in Africa, and if not in the world. The Niger peaks as it enters Nigeria, the Sokoto, the Rima, the Gurara, the Shiroro, the Kaduna, and then comes down to Lokoja. Finally, it peaks the Anambra, which comes from the foot of the Udi Hills. And so you see the volume of water that is anticipated every year.
And then add all of that to from the Benue.
From the Benue.
Yes.
And you recall that the topographical nature of Nigeria is that on the eastern flank, right from the Micha Hills or the Biu Mountains, down to the foot of the Cameroon Mountains and up to the Budu Hills, across the entire Mambela Plateau, is all high. And so the flow of the waters are very swift. And then you recall that the Cross River also flows from the Cameroons. Therefore, when they get down, they swell the carrying capacity of the river Niger. And then the worst hit communities that we're going to expect are not even the states that are named in the north. The worst hit communities will be Delta, River State, that has 50 kilometers of the river Niger. I'm surprised that NEMA is not even warning the people of River State. Beginning from the boundary between Anambra and River State, up to the bifurcation where the river Non branches out of the river Niger, the entire Bayelsa state will be in great danger. Odi, Trofani, Kayama, Patani, Amasoma, all these will be inundated in the next few weeks. And it takes about 3 months for the water to travel from the north to get down to the ocean. Now, the river Niger is not a well-developed river system. And because we have not done a comprehensive study of the river Niger, we tend to look at it as if it ends somewhere in Delta State. And then, because the river Niger is the only one of its type in Africa, and in fact, the most part of the water has no mouth in the Atlantic Ocean. The river Niger simply disappears after Bomadi, because it's joined by the Bomadi River, joined by the Wari River, it's joined by the Koluama, it's joined by the Pennington, it's joined by so many other affluents, so to speak. And then Bayelsa, he said, now becomes a big border pit. So the river is poorly drained. And then when we were doing the federal government was doing the dredging of the river Niger, they didn't take cognizance of the estuary where the river should carry its volume to the Atlantic. So you can see the picture in a better way, how we are joking with a major disaster. And it's not enough to wait until September. Then we raise alarm. Oh, we wait for Cameroonians to issue a warning that they are going to release water from the Lagdo. Cameroon will ever release water from the Lagdo Dam, because Nigeria was supposed to have even built another dam at a place called Dasin Hausa or Wura Alhaji, just at the bend where the Benue enters into Nigeria. We didn't do that. So we have to suffer the consequences. Now, when the Lagdo Dam is released, as it has always been released, whenever it is not convenient to the Cameroonian authorities to maintain water on the Lagdo Dam, the rest of the water, the river beds from the Benue and the Niger and these affluents are inundated. So you wait, the water is coming. It has just reached, it's just getting close to Lokoja. It will hit Anambra, it will hit Delta, it will hit part of Edo, it will hit Rivers, it will hit Bayelsa. And then we wait again until next year. Then there's a major contradiction. In the next 4 months, there will be drought in Nigeria. We'll be looking for water. We have not learned how to utilize the natural resource that God has bestowed us with these rivers of Benue and Niger and the affluents.
That's where I'm coming to now. You have lucidly presented the challenges that confront us at the moment. Now, what strategies do you think as a nation or indeed as states can be adopted to actually tap and utilize this natural resource?
Yes, the states have to play very insignificant role, as it were, because in the second schedule of our constitution, particularly the exclusive legislative list, which is the preserve of the federal government, maritime and navigation on the river Niger clearly is spelled out as a responsibility of the federal government. So it didn't just stop on the Niger, it also included the affluents, the Benue, the Kaduna, the Gongola, the Orashi, all of them. So the federal government has a responsibility to galvanize the rest of the federating units to say, look, we have a challenge, and therefore set up long-term strategies to contain these disasters before they arrive. And like I said, as early as May, the rains begin. And then we wait until August or September for Cameroon to warn us. Nigeria as a nation has to develop a river system strategy beyond the creation of basin authorities, which we have. They are mere palliatives. Beyond building of hydroelectric dams, we need to build earth dams along the entire. We can build over 1,000 of them so that you can create canals that take away the heavy water from the river courses, and then they become tourist sites. And they will also become parks. They will support agriculture. There are nomadic people who need water to graze their animals. There are farmers who need water to water their plants. And of course, tourism. So much has been left. I believe it's because we have oil. That's why the wonderful resource, like the river courses in Nigeria, the river system in Nigeria, has been ignored. Is it because of politics or what? So we need to go back to the drawing board and plan. In the next 4, 5 years, 10 years, what do we do to contain this tragedy that we moan about every year? Oh, the Lagdo Dam has been opened. Cross River has overflown its banks. No. We need a systematic strategy to bring everybody to the drawing table. How
relevant are the river basin authorities to evolving this kind of strategy you're talking about?
You see, in the first place, the creation of the river basin authorities became politicized when they came on board in 1976. All kinds of river basin authorities became created to join the 2 major rivers. No problem. But again, the river basin authorities appear to be focusing only on farmer irrigation or irrigation system. At a point, they were told to hands off all kinds of programs and only face irrigation. It's beyond irrigation. It has to do with creating strategic reserves along the river. Look at the Kainji Lake, for instance. The Kainji Lake is about 85 kilometers radius, and that was man-made. And you can create so many Kainji lakes along these river courses, so that you can ask the river basin authorities to do what they are doing, no problem, but you also have to do something beyond what we have at the moment to create these reservoirs or air dams along the river courses. The Niger has more than half of its entire 4,000 kilometers from Guinea to the coast. Within Nigeria, what are you doing about the river Niger? We have built dams, yes, for hydropower. What are we doing with the Benue? So we need to create these strategic reserves along the river courses, and therefore also look at the possibility of directing the river Niger properly to the Atlantic. As we speak, all other rivers in Africa, the Congo, the Nile, the Zambezi, the Limpopo, all of them have that, direct access to the oceans where they flow into. Even the Amazon, which is the world's largest river, flows and produces about 60 million cubic feet of water per second and tumbles into the Atlantic Ocean. Yet the waters of the Amazon are contributed by the Orinoco and all the other rivers in South America. They have learned how to manage their water courses. We need to sit down as a nation and plan and project and set goals as to how to utilize our river systems.
Now, you spoke about tapping these water resources, these rivers, for tourism. I'm interested in that. After dealing with the challenges and the dangers that these pose now, that the current flooding poses now, how can we turn this into tourist benefits?
Wonderful. After the study of the river system and the connectivity of the entire river network in Nigeria, take the river Benue, for instance. If after Numan, where the Gongola tumbles into the Benue, around Karim Lamido in Taraba, you created a huge lake. It will first of all be a stopgap by receiving the waters of the Benue, no matter what volume that Cameroon will release, because Cameroon has released, is releasing again. So you come down. The lake that will be created, like the Kainji Lake I gave as example, will become a tourist site. And you measure them systematically as you come down. Around Kasina Ala, Zakibiam, around Yandev, then you come down to Omaishi in Nasarawa State. You take out some of the water. We have enough land to create these artificial lakes. Then you come from Lokoja. Between Lokoja, Ada, and Onisha, you can create so many. Around Agenibode, which is known for agriculture, you create water reservoir. So that at the end of each flooding season, you have water which you can even refine or process or filter and feed the neighboring communities. Because after this rainy season, you will see that you will not find water in Bauchi. If you told a Nigerian some weeks ago or some months ago that Bauchi will get flooding, he will tell you, are you normal? But you need to understand the nature of the topography of our Federal Republic of Nigeria to appreciate that flooding is possible in Bauchi.
Well, I was almost carried away, and I didn't remember that our time is really up. But I think that this is a very critical issue, and is one that we will be very willing to bring you back here on Matters Arising to talk a lot more about, and educators and through us Nigerians on these issues. We want to thank you so much for joining us on Matters Arising today.
It is my pleasure.
Well, we've been talking with Prince Shedrack Akolokwu, a trained lawyer, a political economist, and of course, he is a mass communicator and a sustainable development expert. Joining us here on Matters Arising this Wednesday to take a look at the flooding and how to manage Nigeria's river systems, not only to avoid the tragedies that we have seen, but indeed creating economic benefits from it. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us. That's our program for today. We'll be with you again on Thursday. We'll bring you another edition of Matters Arising. You have a wonderful time this evening.
AIT, sharing the African experience.